Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to NWA Power. We are coming off the back of an amazing NWA Limitless show which saw Bishop Dyer retain the NWA World Heavyweight Championship against both Matt Lee and Keith Lee. And it also saw in the main event Colby Corino be taken to his limit by Ortiz in a death match. But for you tonight, we have 4 episodes of NWA Power. So without further ado, we'll get into the first episode. So this first episode of NWA Power opens up with Bishop Dyer. He says he's the most dominant NWA World Heavyweight Champion in history and no one is going to take the belt off him. But he's then interrupted once again by Keith Lee. Keith Lee says at NWA Limitless he wasn't pinned, Matt Lee was pinned instead. And therefore this still makes him the number 1 contender as he was still the last person to pin Bishop Dyer. He wants Dyer one-on-one at NWA Hard Times. We'll see again if Bishop Dyer accepts this challenge and if they'll go one-on-one for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship at NWA Hard Times. In our first match of the night, the team of JT Dunn and Mike Mondo defeat the team of Weber Hatfield and Trevor Murdoch. If you recall, at NWA Limitless, Weber Hatfield became the new NWA Television Champion by defeating 3 of these men in the match, as well as 2 others in Sonico and Rolando Perez. But in this match, JT Dunn and Mike Mondo do defeat Hatfield and Murdoch as JT Dunn pins Trevor Murdoch. So we'll have to see how this changes the landscape for the NWA World Television Championship. After this, we see Natalia Markova. She's backstage and says she has a shot against Kenzie tonight in a mixed tag match. It will be Kenzie and Ortiz against Natalia Markova and a partner of her choosing. She needs to find this partner. Obviously, Max Caster being nearby overhears, and he says that he'll always be ready to help her out. But she rejects his offer. He is still being quite creepy towards her, and says she'll seek help from Colby Corino as he has a history with Ortiz. As Natalia Markova walks away, Max Caster is clearly furious at her option to pick Colby Corino over him. After this, EC3 is once again back out in the ring and he's going to hold his open challenge. He calls anybody out, or whether they're on the NWA roster or not, to come and face him. This time, the challenge is answered by Bully Ray. But Bully Ray says he's not here to fight, but he's here to warn EC3 that next week one of his boys are answering this open challenge. He says it's not fair to have no preparation because his boys are that dangerous. So next week we'll see EC3 against either Bojack or Marsh Rockette. We go backstage once again to see Kenzie Page. She's boasting about still being a double champion here in the NWA. But Yuka Sakazaki once again walks into her interview and says that she's earned the right to be the number 1 contender for the NWA World Women's Championship. And she wants Kenzie Page one-on-one one more time at NWA Hard Times. Kenzie just scoffs at her and tells her to join the queue right at the back where she belongs. So it doesn't look like Kenzie Page is going to be accepting the challenge of Yuka Sakazaki anytime soon. We then go to a follow-up match from NWA Limitless as we saw the return of TJP as he took out Matt Lee. And again, in our match tonight, TJP does in fact defeat Matt Lee with a quick roll-up. Again, a decent match here of 46. Unfortunately, the creative finish was a failure. But again, good performances all round. A 53 for TJP, a 47 for Matt Lee, and a good way to sort of increase the rivalry between these two men. But we are not finished there. As TJP has his hand raised and he continues to celebrate, Spencer Slade comes down to the ring and attacks TJP from behind. He leaves him laying in the ring. Matt Lee obviously is in the corner, bursting out laughing. He goes to raid Spencer Slade's hands, hopefully to form an alliance between them. But he also is laid out by Spencer Slade. Spencer Slade is coming off the back of a loss to EC3 in a cage match at NWA Limitless. But he seems to still be showing that he's after gold, with this gold maybe being the NWA World Heavyweight Championship. Again, we'll have to see what comes of this next week at NWA Power. But for now, move to our main event. In our main event of the evening, In a 68 rated match, the team of Ortiz and Kenzie Page do defeat Natalia Markova and Colby Corino when Kenzie Page submits Natalia Markova. During the match though, we saw Max Caster finally come in and attack Colby Corino. Again, he's been furious for weeks. He attacked the Slime Balls, he attacked Titus, but now he's attacked Colby Corino. He's furious that Natalia Markova chose Colby over him, and he's come to beat him down. In a really good 68 rated match here. Everyone in the 60s after Markova, who gets a 41, being the weak link, but still getting a good 41 rating. In a really good way to end the show. We will finish the show now to see what rating we got. So the show overall gets a 57. It says it doesn't result in any popularity changes. This is because, as you can see at the top, we are still in the month of March. Therefore, our actual popularity limit has been reached. Again, we are at the last day of March. It's just how the tapings have fell. So these 4 shows aren't going to result in any popularity changes, so I'm not going to dwell on this very much. Again, it's just how it's fell. It's unfortunate. But we'll probably be gaining a lot more popularity next month when we get to Hard Times and the next set of Power tapings. But now if we move to our second taping of NWA Power. So our second episode of NWA Power opens up with Mark Henry in his office with Keith Lee and Bishop Dyer. He says that if they both agree to the match, he'll set it up for NWA Hard Times. It will be Bishop Dyer, Keith Lee, one-on-one, no outside interference at all, and it will be for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. After this, in a different part of the arena, we see Max the Impaler. They are stood with Silas Mason. They did have a confrontation at NWA Limitless, and Max says that if Silas steps out of line again, they won't hesitate to completely destroy him. Again, there is tension within the Disciples of Sin, so we'll have to see how the Southern Six and the Disciples of Sin are going to react to this slight tension between Max and Silas. In our first match of the night, EC3 has his challenge answered by Marsh Rockette and manages to defeat Marsh Rockette. In a good 44 rated match, both unfortunately being off their game, but does equal to enough match. But EC3 has answered the first challenge from Bully Ray and managed to defeat Marsh Rockette. But EC3 is not done then. Bully Ray comes out to congratulate EC3 on his victory, but says that next week he's going to fight again, and this time the fight is going to be far tougher, as Bojack sprints down to the ring and he and EC3 begin to trade off. They begin to trade blows in the centre of the ring. It looks like EC3 is going to get the better until Marsh Rockette sneaks up behind after his loss and low blows him. Bully then strolls down to the ring to come and join in on the beatdown of EC3. After this, we go backstage once again. We see Alex Taylor and Kerry Morton. They saw the tension earlier in the night. They also saw the tension at NWA Limitless, and they're trying to come up with a plan to get Silas Mason back into the Southern Six and out of the grasp of Father James Mitchell. But speaking of James Mitchell, he appears. He says it's no use. They've lost Silas and he's never coming back to them. We then go to our next match, a match for the NWA World Women's Tag Team Championships, as the team of Kylie Page and Emi Sakura defeat Kenzie and Allysin Kay to become the new NWA World Women's Tag Team Champions. Again, this is Kenzie Page losing her first championship belt. Again, she was a double champion, but now she has lost the NWA World Women's Tag Team Championships, all because of a distraction by Yuka Sakazaki. Yuka did challenge Kenzie Page last week. Kenzie Page brushed her off. She doesn't want to face her, but we'll have to see what Kenzie Page has to say now she has lost the first of her 2 championships. And we go straight to that as we go backstage to see Kenzie Page. She's furious at Yuka. She's cost her one of her championships. She's no longer a double champion. She says that if Yuka wants a fight, then she has one at NWA Hard Times. So we will see Kenzie Page against Yuka Sakazaki for the NWA World Women's Championship at NWA Hard Times. And then we go to our main event of the evening, as Colby Corino defeats Spencer Slade. Again, a really good match here, 63, one of Spencer Slade's best matches. Colby Corino was off his game, but still gets a 65. We saw TJP run in and attack Spencer Slade after Slade attacked TJP last week, but we also saw Max Caster come in and attack Colby Corino, again after he cost Corino and Markova their tag match last week. Again, both rivalries are brewing, so we'll have to see how they progress in the coming weeks, but for now, we'll finish the show. Again, it gets a 55, a couple of ratings lower, but again, doesn't result in any popularity changes, so that is fine. But now we move to our third NWA Power taping. So our third taping of NWA Power opens up with Mark Henry once again in the ring. He has the contract for the NWA World Women's Championship match at Hard Times. He says that the signing between Kenzie Page and Yuka Sakazaki will be peaceful. There will be no attacks. If any of the women lay hands on each other, then the match will be completely off. And the women do as they are told. They both sign the contracts and they both have an amicable and peaceful contract signing. But before the media photographs can be taken, Kenzie Page storms off, clearly unhappy still with Mark Henry and Yuka Sakazaki. In our first match of the night, Bojack defeats EC3 by making him submit. Again, a 45 rated match. Bojack has defeated EC3 cleanly. No help from Marsh Rockette, no help from Bully Ray, but EC3 is still feeling the effects of the attack from Bojack, Rockette and Bully Ray last week. So that's probably why he has been defeated here. But a huge victory for the young Bojack, defeating a former NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. After this, we go backstage to see Natalia Markova with Colby Corino. She's telling him to be careful of Max Caster, and he tells her not to worry. He's dealt with bigger, badder, and more dangerous people in the past, so he definitely isn't worried about creepy Caster. In our next match, Keith Lee defeats one of the members of the Disciples of Sin in Max the Impaler after a distraction from Silas Mason. So a big win for Keith Lee, but the real story being the fact that Silas Mason, after being warned last week not to get in Max the Impaler's way, has cost them this match here against Keith Lee. Big win for Keith Lee, but the story is more in the crumbling of the Disciples of Sin. We'll then go backstage to Matt Lee. He says he wants to prove himself at NWA Hard Times. Again, prove himself in massive quotation marks. He wants a proving ground match between the top 6 best contenders here in the NWA. Obviously, he considers himself as one of the top contenders. So we'll see what 6 are chosen for this proving ground match. Then we go to our main event of the evening in a triple threat match. Ortiz defeats Colby Corino and Spencer Slade after he pins Colby Corino, again following interference from Max Caster. A really good 68 rated match here. Corino getting a 72, Ortiz 65, Spencer Slade getting a 54, which is still a very high rating, the same as Keith Lee. But the big story, once again, being the fact that Max Caster has cost Colby Corino this match. After this, Corino grabs a mic, he's laid out in the middle of the ring, and he says that he's had enough of creepy Caster, and he wants to end his NWA career at NWA Hard Times. So it looks like we're going to see Colby Corino and Max Caster finally go one-on-one at Hard Times. Again, we'll finish the show, we'll see what rating we got. This sees the improvement from the last 2 shows, getting a 59, probably one of the best NWA Power tapings we've done, the best of this taping set so far, and a really good way to get our 3rd taping out there. But now I'll see you in our 4th and final NWA Power taping. So our 4th and final taping of NWA Power opens up with Kenzie Page. She has a microphone in the center of the ring. She says she has no respect for Yuka Sakazaki, and at NWA Hard Times, she'll send her back to AEW Catering, where she belongs. An excellent way to start the show, a 78 rated promo here from Kenzie Page. A really good way to start the show, and a really good way to build hype for their match at NWA Hard Times. In our first match of this final set, or this final taping Odinson and the Diamonds in the Rough defeat the team of Oliver Carter and the Slimeballs. Again, Odinson pins Tommy Rant with an F10. Decent ratings all round. Say Chance was off his game but still got a 23, which was not great. Oliver Carter for 54, Odinson for 49. Really good ratings all around considering who was in the match. And a good 48 rated match. Again, these people don't really have much going on at the moment. Oliver Carter is still the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion, and he'll be defending it at NWA Hard Times. But other than that, all these people at the moment don't really have much going on. In our next segment, EC3 says he's found a partner and he's went to speak to Mark Henry. And it will be EC3 and his mystery partner taking on Bojack and Marsh Rockette at NWA Hard Times for the NWA World Tag Team Championships. Again, you'll have to wait for NWA Hard Times to find out who EC3's mystery partner is. In our next match, this was for the NWA United States Tag Team Championships, as Dylan McKay and Sonico defeat Vic and Silas Mason in a huge upset, probably the biggest upset of this series so far. During the match, we saw Max the Impaler come and attack Silas Mason. Again, last week, we saw Silas Mason cost Max the Impaler a match against Keith Lee. So Max the Impaler has returned the favour by attacking, physically laying hands on Silas Mason during this match. So the Disciples of Sin really are crumbling apart, and they've lost quite a lot of their power by losing the NWA United States Tag Team Championships. After this match, we go backstage, and Max and Silas are ready to pull each other apart in the Disciples of Sin locker room. They are about to come to blows once again, but James Mitchell and Vic have to pull them apart. Again, they are screaming at each other from across the locker room. They are ready to absolutely tear each other apart. But they have to be pulled away, and Silas Mason storms out of the Disciples of Sin locker room. After this, we go to another area backstage as Ortiz finds Matt Lee. He says he may not like him, but he respects that he's also a top contender. And Ortiz wants in on the top contenders match at NWA Hard Times. He wants to prove that he is the top contender as well as Matt Lee. So we have two participants in the match already. It'll be Matt Lee and Ortiz. We'll have to find out who the other four are at NWA Hard Times. And in our main event of the evening, a 69 rated 6-man tag team matchup as the team of Keith Lee, Colby Carino and TJP defeat Max Caster and the Disciples of Sin, being Bishop Dyer and Max the Impaler, after Keith Lee once again pins Max the Impaler with a Spirit Bomb. Again, a really good match here. Best match of the taping so far, and an excellent way to close out the tapings. But during the match, we saw Matt Lee run in and attack TJP. Their rivalry continues. TJP will more than likely be in this top contenders match at NWA Hard Times. We also saw Silas Mason come and distract Max the Impaler. Again, they were brawling earlier in the night. They really have it out for each other at the moment. But again, a really good match here. Max Caster being the weak link, getting a 42. Caster and Carino will face each other at NWA Hard Times, as will Keith Lee and Bishop Dyer. So a huge conglomeration of matches here, but a good way to close the show for NWA Hard Times. We finished the show, we'll see what rating we got. So this taping equals the last one, getting a 59. Again, no popularity changes because we've reached our maximum for the month, but a good way to finish these set of tapings. We go to the post-show area and then we'll finish the episode. So if we look at our financial report, again, we lost $27,000, a really high worker month with $35,000. Again, ticket sales are relatively high, as was broadcast revenue. But again, we should still be relatively stable based on the fact that we earn a lot of more money throughout the month of March. Again, there should be no popularity recaps. So at this point, I will end the episode here. We do have a lot of matches set up for NWA Hard Times, one of the biggest events of the year for the NWA. So we'll see Bishop Dyer take on Keith Lee with the NWA World Heavyweight Championship on the line. We'll see Colby Carino take on Max Caster. We will see EC3 and a mystery opponent, or mystery partner, take on Marsh Rockette and Bojack. and we'll see the 6-man proving ground match for the top contender spot, as well as Kenzie Page taking on Yuka Sakazaki for the NWA World Women's Championship. Again, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. If there's any wrestlers you'd like to see, then leave them in the comments below. But once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you at NWA Hard Times.